Hello YouTube, Kipper4472 here, bringing you guys a episode series on City Skylines. Now, this is a fun game to play, and a fun game to bring to the channel, I think. So let's jump right into it with, well, first we need to unlock the ability to roundabout, because I like starting it off with a roundabout. So if we go ahead and put it there, if we go to these roads and go to upgrade and upgrade that road and that road, there we go, and then we connect, if I can get my camera there, then we connect the roads like so, and I forgot to select right hand traffic. And I'm still on upgrade. There we go, and there we go. Okay, now we can start building our residential area, which will just be standard sort of squares that I think a lot of people do, just because they work easily and they're good for building the city early on. And a few squares later, here we are. Now let's sort out power and water. Power, let's go for not so green option and make a little bit there, and stick a coal power plant on the end of there, and then we'll hook it up with some pylons and go over there. Perfect. Now water. Is the water flowing? Yes, there is water flowing. So if I put a water pump there and a sewage outlet down the river at the other side of the map there, and then to power them we'll just have standard wind turbine. There we go. And now we connect them up with a water pipe. There we go. And then bring the water pipe over to the little squares, so we should call them. And there we go. So now we can unpause time, speed it up, and fill in the residential zone. And now let's watch it grow.
Tiny, 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 tiny time lapse. 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 Tiny, 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 tiny time. Tiny, 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 tiny time lapse. 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 Tiny, tiny.
Okay, so now that that's pretty much done, let's rotate back to a normal sort of thing. There we go. Now that that's done, commercial has gone out the road, so let's extend this road down and go back to this one. And if I go one outwards here and one outwards here, if I go down from here it goes there. Not enough money? It's not very nice. Okay, so well that'll have to do for a minute. So before we run out of money, if we quickly well, we have water coverage here. So if I go ahead and fill that in with water, there we are. Hopefully that'll start building full. Yep, there we go. hopefully we'll start making some money. It does appear that we are making $1. So that's good. We're gaining $1 back. Now getting a bit more, which is good as well. And there's nothing more I can do now. So we'll wait until we've made a bit of money, hopefully. Okay, so I built some houses on this side, not houses, sorry, shops, commercial on this side. And we don't have waterfalls, so they are going to complain, but they are going to make us money. So it's still only going down by about $2. So. And we don't have any more commercial demands, so industrial, there we go. So hopefully that will start making us some money as well, even though they don't have water either. And there's nothing else I can do now. Okay, so we are nearly making money. We'll be about £80 of dollars, or a C with the 2 lines in, whatever you call it. Yeah, we're nearly making money now, so we're nearly making a profit. So then we will be able to give all of this water and be able to continue building where we were. And we are now making money, but we're still in the minuses, so we'll have to wait until we have made a profit, or we're about to hit the milestone of Little Hamlet. In fact, we're only 3 people off, and there we go, Little Hamlet. And now, actually, we're not in the minuses anymore, so we can go ahead and do that now. Yay. And we have education, and education now, so, yay, education. School, yay, school. Okay, so I've built out this little area here. We'll stick industrial here, and then if I build this up to the end of the road, and then take this down to here, and then we have, and then we connect air, even though that is going to disrupt. There we go, and now we can zone these for commercial, zone that 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 for residential, zone that for commercial, zone that for industrial, and that for industrial. And now let's give everything water. There we go. Oh, we've got loads of water lines, and yes, we have garbage, and garbage is already piling up. So, if I take this little road that's sticking out here, and build it down, more than I meant to, but okay, and stick landfill on the end, there we go. We have a landfill site now. Landfill to get quite a number quite quickly. We don't have enough for education, but actually, while speaking about money, let's bring the taxes up. No. And bring them all up to 12. There we go. And if that'll go away, that'll go away. And let's take a loan now, because it's sort of running out of money. There we go. And now we can build a medical centre. In fact, no, school's more important. No, medical centre's more important. I'm speaking total trash and tosh there. School's more important. Okay, but we do need school because we need people to be smart. We need people to be nerds at their job, so we can afford a school, so we'll build one. There we go, we have garbage, healthcare, and education. think this is going to be a good place to wrap up the episode here. So, I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode of City Skylines. Yep, Skylines, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!